Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mount Laurel Township Planning Board regular meeting of April 8th. The meeting is now called to order. Notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the law by posting a copy of the annual notice on the bulletin boards at Town Hall, filing a copy of the annual notice with the clerk of the Township of Mount Laurel in the clerk's office at the township, and emailing a copy of the annual notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, and the Central Record. All of these postings, filings, and emails took place on the 20th of January, 2021. At this time, I would ask that everyone please turn off all cell phones except for emergency personnel. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and to observe a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I would ask the Board Secretary Trish to please call the roll.
Chairwoman Conti,
Present.
Mayor Steglich,
Present.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Present.
Mr. Pizzo,
Present.
Mr. Pfeiffer,
Present.
Mr. Nyack, Mr. Bathke,
Present.
and alternate number 2, Mr. Vanakishnan.
Yes, present.
Thank you, Trish. Next on the agenda is the adoption of minutes. Does anybody have any questions or concerns with the minutes? Okay, seeing none. At this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of March 11th, 2021.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 11, 2021.
I have a motion for Mr. Pizzo. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second for Mayor Steglich. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Trish, do you want Ramesh to abstain?
John,
John,
would
since he didn't, would he, even though he was present at the meeting, does he have to abstain or would
voting
you?
list.
If he was present at the meeting, then yes, he can vote on the minutes.
Okay, great. Next on the agenda is resolutions. So the first resolution we have this evening is R 2021-06. It's for the new Laurel Creek Country Club. This was for the extension of the final site plan approval. Does anybody have any questions on the resolution? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Madam Chairperson, this is Mike Pfeiffer. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I have a motion for Mr. Pfeiffer. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second for Mr. Pizzo. Trish, will you call the roll?
Mr. Pfeiffer,
Aye.
Mr. Pizzo,
Aye.
Mr. Bathke,
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua.
Aye.
Mayor Steglich,
Aye.
and Chairwoman Conti.
Aye, so moved. The next resolution is R 2021-07. This is for Walmart Retail Estate Business Trust, and this was for temporary use permit. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the resolution? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
Madam Chair, this is Mike Pfeiffer. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I have a motion by Mr. Pfeiffer. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second for Mayor Steglich. Trish, will you call the roll?
Mr. Pfeiffer,
Aye.
Mayor Steglich,
Aye.
Mr. Bathke,
Aye.
Mr. Pizzo,
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Aye.
and Chairwoman Conti.
Aye, so moved. The next resolution on the agenda is R 2021-08. This is for the Falls Group, the Funplex. And this is for preliminary and final major site plan. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the resolution? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion from Mayor Stegler. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second from Mr. Pfeiffer. Trish, will you call the roll?
Mayor Stegler,
Aye.
Mr. Pfeiffer,
Aye.
Mr. Baskey,
Aye.
Mr. Pizzo,
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Aye.
Chairwoman Conti.
Aye, so moved. The next resolution on the agenda is R 2021-09. This is for National Energy Partners. This was for a minor site plan for solar array energy system. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the resolution?
Madam Chair, this is John Miller. At 4:33 this afternoon, I received an email from the applicant's counsel providing recommended or proposed changes to the resolution. I reviewed them. The changes are minor from a legal standpoint. They're satisfactory. What I'd like to do is just briefly read them into the record. And that way the board will have the complete resolution before it takes action on the resolution.
Thank you.
On page 2, paragraph 5, it was originally written that the applicant's electrical engineer, that's been revised to the applicant's civil engineer. In page 6, in the second sentence, we revised the sentence to read that Mr. Corson stated it was possible the applicant would not strictly comply with the ordinance requirement in regard to the site or the visibility of the roof-mounted solar energy systems. We also, the revision, there was also a revision made that the roof-mounted solar arrays would extend 14 inches above the roof and would not extend over the edges of the roof. The other proposed change in that paragraph was that the majority of the roof-mounted arrays would not be visible from the parking lot or street, and that ends the changes for paragraph 6. Paragraph 7, there was one word added to the first sentence, Mr. Corson, and to read as follows. The word is slightly, and the sentence reads as follows. Mr. Corson acknowledged, however, that it was possible that some of the roof-mounted solar arrays could be slightly viewed from the parking lot and street. So those are all the proposed changes. Again, they're minor in nature. From a legal standpoint, they're satisfactory, and I offer those changes to the board for its review of the resolution.
Okay. Does the board have any comments?
Madam Chair, should the professionals comment on that?
I was going to that next.
Okay.
Do our professionals have any comments about those changes?
It does not appear that those changes would impact any variances or waivers that were granted or the approval. So I wouldn't have an objection.
Okay,
I don't have any issues with the proposed changes either.
okay,
Objection.
okay. Okay. All right, so no objections from our professionals. At this time, I would ask for a motion on this resolution
I'll make a motion, Madam Chair, on this resolution.
to approve with the changes as outlined by
approve.
our solicitor.
Yes, with the changes, yes.
I have a motion from Mr. Pizzo. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Who did second first? I'm sorry, I'm looking at screens. Mayor, was it you, Mayor
Sure.
Stegler? Okay, I have a second for Mayor Stegler. I'm sorry, the lines move too quickly sometimes for me to catch up. Trish, if you'll call the roll.
Mr. Pizzo,
Aye.
Mayor Stegler,
Aye.
Mr. Baskey,
Aye.
Mr. Pfeiffer,
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Aye.
and Chairwoman Conti.
Aye, so moved. At this time, I would ask that our board professionals be sworn in by our board solicitor.
Good evening to all. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth during the course of this public meeting?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, we move to our public hearings. The first hearing that was listed on the original agenda was Thomas Parkinson, PB 2106. This was at 319 Mount Laurel Road. John, do you want to speak to this?
Yes, Madam Chair. This application that listed was for this evening was originally presented as a minor subdivision. Based upon conversations with our board professionals, that application has since been revised, and as a result, the applicant cannot go forward this evening. The applicant has requested to be placed on the May agenda. The board can't carry the hearing to May because the applicant, since it revised its application, is now seeking a different relief and seeking a different application. They do have to renotice. So if you're here this evening for Thomas Parkinson application PB 2106, and you received a written notice for that meeting, first, that application will not be heard this evening. Second, you will receive another written notice from Mr. Parkinson, that will be mailed at least 10 days prior to the May hearing, and the May hearing will be held on May 13, 2021, and it will be held virtually. So if you did receive a notice, you will receive another one. Should you wish to review the application and any of the documents therein, you can do so online and or contact Trish Hochreiter, the secretary, and arrangements will be made so that you can inspect those documents.
And for anybody that's from the public that's on the call for that application, in order to participate in the public portion, you will need to be on video at that meeting. So just to give you a heads up on that. Okay. So our first public hearing this evening will be NDXLI LLC PBP 2013. It's for 300, 302, 330 Fellowship Road, Block 1203, Lot 1. It's SRI zone, and it's for solar energy carports. Is the attorney for the applicant here?
Yes,
How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. Chairwoman, members of the board, Richard Skolnick on behalf of the applicant. You did an excellent introduction, and it's a relatively straightforward application for a solar facility. I'd like to go right to my sole witness, who is Gary Vecchio, our civil engineer from Taylor Weissman. He's the only one I intend to call tonight. I do have our client representative, Colin McGuckin, available. I see him on the Zoom call, and he's available if there's any specific questions.
John, would you like to swear in both of them? So if there's questions that either one has to answer, how would you like to handle that?
Let's do that. This way we don't have to stop later on, and we can just go in. So that'd be fine.
I recommend that as well, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to you, John, for swearing in.
Okay, gentlemen, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth during this hearing?
I do.
Thank you. Please state and spell your names for the record.
My name's Gary V. Vecchio. Do you want me to swear in as an engineer?
I think he asked you to spell your name also, and then we're going to do Colin.
Okay, GaryVecchio. Okay, and Colin, if you would.
Sure. My name is Colin McGuckin, ColinMcGuckin.
Okay, and Chairwoman, just to note, we fashioned this as a application for amended preliminary and final site plan approval. No variances tonight, so we have that rare circumstance.
Okay.
We have had 2 rounds of review letters and 2 rounds of revisions. as well. So we've been working for a number of months now to go back and forth with your team of professionals. And again, there have been 2 rounds since our original, so 3.
Would you like to, sometimes we do this when we've had these kind of conversations. Would you like us to go to our professional reports and then your experts can address any additional concerns they have?
If that makes sense for you, Chairwoman, you know
Okay.
your board better, you know the application, I'm sure.
Yes.
I certainly can tell by the way you're running the meeting that it's comprehensive and you've reviewed it. So, it depends on the application. So
Okay,
if you want
so
me to-
that's what we'll do. We'll go through our professionals and then at our professionals, whatever the questions they have that are still outstanding, then either you or your professionals can respond to their questions.
I think that makes sense for this application.
Okay, great. I like to move things along. We all like to move things along.
We
so.
appreciate that. We appreciate
Okay, so we'll start with Jay, our planner. Hi, Jay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our letter is dated March 19th, 2021. And as stated by the applicant, they have submitted revised plans and submitted a letter dated March 26th, 2021 from Mr. Vecchio that responded to our letter and frankly, basically addressed all of the comments in our letter. There's only a couple points that I'll raise tonight. As stated, there are no variances with the application. The applicant is asking for a couple submission waivers for soil borings, topsoil removal and transportation outside of municipal boundaries, and providing preliminary architectural plans and elevations. I had no objection from a planning standpoint for those waivers. The rest of the submission items have been provided. The applicant has provided sketches illustrating the proposed solar panels, but they're not quote unquote architectural drawings. So I had no objection to those waivers. I would like to get some testimony tonight as to whether or not the proposed canopies will overhang any drive aisles. It wasn't clear on the plan, so I'd just like to get confirmed that there will be no canopies or panels overhanging vehicular movement areas. If you want, Madam Chair, do you want them to address these as we go, or?
Yeah, let's do it that way. So then we make sure we
Okay.
cover.
Gary, is there anything that's going to be overhanging any vehicular drive aisles?
No.
Thank you. Answers that question pretty darn easy. The site lighting is about twice what's required by the ordinance. It is at 1 foot candles required by the ordinance. The applicant is proposing 2.4. And we just had a concern with off-site glare. Can you tell me any actions are taken to reduce any off-site glare from the lighting as proposed?
Well, these lighting are actually under the carport. And so the glare is, the 2.4, the intensity is because the points are straight down into the, so the glare will not be up, it'll be down.
Okay, well, the ordinance goes by the average.
Right.
So are you saying that the average will actually be less than the 2.4?
Well, we're going to provide to your office a lighting plan that was done by the manufacturer. Now, this is a specific kind of lighting.
Right, so you provide a lighting plan and work with our office.
Yes.
And if there's concerns from our planner about the lighting plan you submit, will the applicant be willing to work with our planner to resolve those issues?
Yes, it's like the planner says, that we're overlit, so we're gonna have to reduce the lighting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. There are no changes to any identification signage as part of this. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Rest of our comments have been addressed. I'd be happy to answer any questions. The applicants indicated, by the way, that they will work with us to address landscaping on site and compensatory plantings as well for the board's information.
Does the board members have any questions for Jay or the applicant on Jay's report? Okay, seeing none, I'll
Thank you.
move to Bill. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our report's dated March 19th, 2021, as Jay indicated. Mr. Vecchio responded with a letter dated March 26th as well. And again, we've been working with his office for the past several months, a number of plan submissions. So we only have a few items we're looking for testimony for. They've agreed to the comments in our review letter. So regarding item 2A and B in our report, Gary, if you could just address any environmental concerns and any proposed buffering for the proposed solar installation.
Yes, as for the environmental concerns, this project's been around quite a while, and it's been developed several times. Actually, our office at TWT was actually one of these parcels at 306 Fellowship. So there has been some work out there, and I did submit from Earth Engineering. When they did the connector between the two buildings, they didn't find anything, and so structurally, we believe there's not any issues either.
And there's no deed restriction on the property.
No.
And how about buffering from the surrounding neighborhood?
You know, buffering, we did do some landscaping, and we did it to the east of the site. I know there was questions about the residential on Pleasant Valley, and honestly, these solar panels do not affect their views. The buildings between the solar panels and the residents.
Okay, thank you. That was our concern, the buffering for the residential.
Yeah.
And
then the only-
Bill, I'm sorry to interrupt, it's Jay. They did agree to work with our office to address buffering as well. So
Yes,
that'll be part of the approved plans, and we'll work together on that.
And the only other open issue I had was the site lighting, which Jay already spoke to, and they're going to address that. So unless any of the board members have questions, they've addressed our concerns.
Does the board members have any questions for Bill on his report? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
We will move to Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My report's dated March 22nd, 2021. Essentially, we work with the applicant's engineer, and they've satisfied all our traffic-related comments. So from our perspective, there's no outstanding issues.
Okay. Does anybody from the board have any questions for Mike on his report? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Let's move to our fire marshal. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Thank you, Madam Chair and planning board members. My report's dated February 8th, 2021. The applicant has had the opportunity to update their plans and respond to my letter with a letter of their own, March 26, 2021. They've either satisfied, complied, or they're willing to comply with all the things that have been outlined by the fire department. So the fire department has no concerns with this project or what's proposed.
Okay, any questions from the board for Brian? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I will bring this back to the applicant. Is there anything additional you would like to add to your application?
No, Chairwoman, I just want to let you know, this is the way every one of my applications goes in all the towns where I appear now. I'm only joking.
We
No.
try. We try.
No, we appreciate it. We've worked hard. We've worked with your staff. There's been a lot of changes. So that's the
We
idea.
like that. As you can see, it makes everything run smoothly. Okay, so at this time, since this is a public hearing, I'm going to open this up to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this application? I don't see anybody. Trish, is there anybody that you see or had in queue for this?
No,
Okay,
no one.
so we'll note for the record, there's no one from the public, so I'll close the public portion. I'll bring it back to the board. Is there any additional questions from the board on this application? Okay, seeing none, I will turn to our solicitor, John Miller, and have John outline the terms of the application.
The conditions brought forth by the applicant's team was first that Jay had a question as far as the overhang for the canopy over the drive aisles. The testimony was that there would be no overhang. There was also concerns expressed about the lighting plan. There was concern that the lights are actually two times over the ordinance requirement. Mr. Vecchio testified that a lighting plan would be submitted. He testified that they will have to reduce the lighting and that they would work with our board professionals in the preparation and revision, if you will, of the lighting plan. In regard to Bill's testimony, the buffering for the landscaping, the applicant has agreed to work with the board professionals on the buffering as well. A buffering plan for that. There was concern about landscaping to the east, but again, that the applicant has agreed to work with the board's professionals for the buffer. There were no variances.
I think they're going to work on a landscaping plan with our professionals as well, correct, Jay?
Exactly right. That's right. That's right. And that's everything I have, Madam Chair.
Is there, from our professionals, is there anything else that John needs to include that was missed?
No, he always includes in the resolutions compliance with our letters as stated.
Yes.
So we're good.
Okay, nothing else then. Okay, is there anything from the applicant that was missed or you would like captured? No, okay. So at this time, I would ask for a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion to approve
As outlined by our solicitor.
as outlined by our solicitor.
Thank you, Mayor Seglet. Do I have a
Sure.
second?
I'll second it.
I have a second from Mr. Pfeiffer. Trish, will you call roll, please?
Mayor Stegler,
Aye.
Mr. Pfeiffer,
Aye.
alternate number 2, Mr. Venikakrishnan,
Aye.
Mr. Bafki,
Aye.
Mr. Pizzo,
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Aye.
and Chairwoman Conti.
I so moved. Thank you very much for coming online, I should say. Usually I would say come in, but coming online. So thank you. Good luck with your application.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That is the end of our public hearings. Does the board professionals have any comments? Anything?
No comments, ma'am.
Nothing further, Madam Chair.
Okay, anything from
comment.
board members? Any comments, concerns? Okay, seeing none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
And
motion
that
to
may be a
adjourn.
record, by the way.
I have a motion. We're not done yet, Jay. Wait. I have a motion for Mr. Pfeiffer. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a second for Mr. Bafki. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, was that a record? We have to check on that. I don't know.
We've had like
I know we've had
3-minute
shorter-
3-minute meetings, like.
Yeah, well, that's